dynamic gift just for dad. Pick 6 for dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, you name it. All for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
It's time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole.
Boom, baby. Boom, baby. How y'all doing this morning? It's the weekly sports magazine. Dave Coleman here. I'll be here 8 to 10 a.m. this morning talking sports. Got a lot of stuff on our minds today that we want to talk about. So we definitely will do it this morning. You can call me up at 855-525-5683. That's the number. That's how you get in touch with me. You want to holler at the black man? Come on. Let's holler. Okay. Can we do that? Got tons of stuff to talk about. NBA. We'll talk a little NFL. We're going to talk about trans and transgender people competing against lesser competition. I'm getting a little tired of this. No, I'm not going to be politically correct either. I mean, sometimes common sense has to kick in. And for whatever reasons, in this arena, common sense is way off the charts. All right. So we'll get into all of that here in just a moment. And also, by the way, we're going to be jamming a little Midnight Star today. That will be our guest band. You know, if you all are familiar with them. If you're not, then you will be this morning. So make sure you stick and stay for that also. Now, before we get started, you know, we have to do what we do. We have to talk to people. We have to speak to people. I grew up in the South. And certainly this morning, if you're in the Little Rock area, anywhere around the Arkansas River, just a public service announcement, pay attention. The river still hasn't crested. There are parts, particularly here in Little Rock area, where North Little Rock over by the RV park, all of that, Pine Bluff going down, all of that is gonna get ugly. Okay, so certainly our prayers go out to all the people in the path of this flood, but unfortunately from what we hear, it's not gonna, the worst is yet to come, and there's more rain on the way. So pay attention when you're out there driving. I know a lot of people are out taking pictures and are fascinated about what they're seeing, and rightfully so. But about 2010, I got to be in a flood. Not that I wanted to be, but I got to be. And it was not fun at all. Okay? So just be careful out there. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to make to you, all right? So in the meantime, in between time, why don't we go ahead and speak to folks? Because, you know, we have to do that every day. So let's go ahead and do that right now. and get that out of the way. So first of all, people here in the Central Arkansas area, now let me say this. If I call your city's name, you are potentially in the path of this flood. Okay? Lone Oak, Jacksonville, Sheridan, Woodson, Wrightsville. Good morning. Wake up. Pay attention to the news, and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Pine Bluff, I don't holler at you guys enough. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Let's just put it this way. Anyone along the Arkansas River tributaries, good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. And I hope you're up paying attention, because that river is real and it's getting wider. It's flooding more. What we have to pray is that that dam doesn't break. They have already opened up, from what I understand, all of the locks. So we have to be concerned. Okay? We really have to be concerned. All right. So people outside of the area, people in Nashville, Tennessee, what's happening? Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. People in Memphis, good morning. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Don't want to miss Chattanooga. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. My peeps down in Louisiana, you all, it's on the way. The Mississippi, the Arkansas feeds into the Mississippi. Was just in Memphis a week or so ago, and man, the Mississippi is everywhere as well. So good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. I wonder what the Republicans are talking about now. What global warming? What global warming? Huh? Okay. Welcome to the weekly sports magazine. I'm a little raw this morning. Y'all excuse me. I'm tired of BS. Louisiana, New Orleans, Red Stick, better known as Baton Rouge. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Holla at Sabrina Black, who's in Cozumel. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Let's see who else. Atlanta, Philadelphia, New York City. Hey y'all, welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Don't want to forget my son on the west coast, or the Western Islands, that is Hawaii, Akili Coleman. Good morning and welcome to the weekly sports magazine. Okay? Now we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Okay? And I will tell you that it's going to make some people mad. And you know what? I don't care. So let me read I'll read the tease to you here in just a moment. And then we're going to jump headlong into the discussion. And I think I am going to start off with the transgender and competing with women. All right? So we'll get to that here in just a second. But just to read the tease to you. Okay, let me get it up. All right, so here's what we're talking about today. Today on the Weekly Sports Magazine, 8 to 10 a.m. on joynetradio.com, we examine the NBA Finals and other news in that arena, and it's a lot. There is a lot going on in the NBA other than just the finals, but we're going to break down Game 1, Game 2 is tomorrow, and we'll talk about some of the ancillary things that are going on in the NBA today. I'll also look at what really happened to Magic and the Lakers. I just believe there's some stuff that people are not talking about, and I think the reason Magic resigned the way he did, that was a black man's resignation that said, y'all can kiss my blank. Okay? So we'll talk about that today as well. I'm also going to rip the Raiders, my former team of love. I don't have a team in the NFL anymore because of the Colin Kaepernick situation, for signing Richie Incognito, one of the most racist people in the NFL. But it was okay to sign a racist, but it's not okay to sign someone who's fighting racism. Also, Chris Long retires, and with much respect from me, I have a lot of respect for Chris Long, and we'll talk about that. Let's see, I think also Track Star picks HBCU, and I salute him. We'll cover that story. I think it's a huge story. I think it potentially could have reverberations from other athletes, but I applaud that young brother. And the story that we're going to talk about right now is trans men should not compete against women. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to make some people mad this morning. And last week, there was a story that came out, and we've talked about this before. The Semenya person who ran in the World Championships, and we talked about this about 2 weeks ago. And the question was, should she be able to compete with women, considering the fact that she has high levels of testosterone? And I asked the question at that point, and I've used track and field as to me, track and field is the classic example to show the difference between men and women physically. Okay? I've used this example multiple times. It is the classic example to show that men are physically stronger than women. Now, I know a lot of people hate to hear that, but that's just an anatomical fact. You look at and I'm sitting here, and when I was watching the World Championships, the woman who won the discus, if I remember correctly, she threw the discus 243 feet. The man who won the discus, he threw it 262 feet. So men and women are physically different. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let me say it again, because there are some out there who tend to believe that women, just like, there's this girl who just got signed for a scholarship to play football. Now, why? Her body is going to take a lot more pounding than men will when she's competing against men. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. So why am I bringing this up? The young lady I'm trying to think about is Caster Semenya. She's from South Africa. She ran and she won her heat. Now, I found out that Caster Semenya is actually a woman who was born as a woman who has high levels of testosterone. So I can give her a pass. How you are born does not give people right to discriminate against you. Let me say that again. How you are born does not give people the right to discriminate against you. But here's the problem that I have. That when you are born a man and you decide that you want to compete against women, I have a problem with that. Okay? So, say for instance you identify as a woman. All right, that's fine. But physiology says you are a man. You have male plumbing. You have all of the muscle fiber and muscle definition of a man, but you just decide that you are a woman. Okay? Now you want to say, and by the way, this particular person, she goes by the name of CC Telford. Just last year, this person competed as a man. Hello? That ought to be the defining thing right there. If you ever competed as a man, you cannot then go and compete with women. That's taking a step down on competition. So this athlete, they go to Franklin Pierce University, just won a national champion, and they claim she's breaking barriers. No, she isn't. It's almost like having a 17-year-old compete against a 12-year-old in an athletic competition. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster. So CC Telfer, she's a transgender woman who competes on that track team, and she recently won the 400-meter hurdles at the NCAA Women's Track and Field Championship. Telfer said her first place win is the culmination of a long journey on the track, and in life. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because at some point, we got to start kicking in common sense. Boys should not be competing one-on-one against girls. No offense to girls. But as I've said, and as we all know, that boys are stronger than girls. Once puberty kicks in, yeah, I've seen girls when they were, 9, 10, beat up boys. I've seen that. All right? Boys same age, same size. But when that boy turns 12, 13 years old, that girl can't beat up that boy anymore because that boy, his testosterone has kicked in. So why are we letting men who claim to be women, men who are born as men, who have all the same muscle structure, all the same skeletal structure, all the same hormones as men, compete against women? It makes no sense. In fact, it's unfair. Now, you all can call me homophobic all you want. I don't care. But this is not right. This person, by the way, CC Telfer, let me just read this because this boggles my mind. Telfer was assigned male at birth, but says she's always known she's female. She competed for 3 years with Franklin. Listen, she competed for 3 years with Franklin Pierce's men team, but stepped away when she started transitioning with hormone replacement therapy. So this person, up until last year, competed with men. Now, here's what I think is going on here. You couldn't be successful as men, as a man, and win, so you decided that, hey, here's a convenient way for me to become a woman and win a championship. This is wrong, folks. I don't care how politically correct this country is trying to be. I don't begrudge anyone who thinks they're one thing and they are another. That's on you. But there needs to be some lines drawn. Men should not be competing against women. There was a guy who was a wrestler competing against women. There was a UFC person who was a transgender, transitioned from male to female, fought this young lady and ended up fracturing her skull. Males should not be competing against women. And although somewhere in your life, whatever reasons, you've decided you were born a male, you lived as a male, it's pretty clear you did because you competed with the track team as a male for 3 years. So it's pretty clear you thought you were a male at some point. Now, maybe you were in the closet, but at the end of the day, your body, your plumbing, all of it was male. And now you say, oh, well, I'm going to transition so I have the right to go compete as a female? No. That dog don't hunt. Not to me, it doesn't. And it shouldn't hunt with competition people. It shouldn't. And we should not be supporting this madness. Because this is pure madness. Because here's what's going to happen. We're going to start seeing women who are athletes, who are legitimate athletes, are going to start being pushed back because there are men who want to compete. Let me ask you something. What if a woman transitioned to a man? See, if everything was equal, a woman transitioned to a man and decided she wanted to compete as an athlete, there should be no problem, right? But you know there is a problem. You know why? Because her physical stature will not allow. Look, I don't care how you try to transition. The majority of women are smaller than men. We know that. So let's say this little woman, she's 5'2". She decides that she is actually a male and she wants to go and compete on the men's track team. She wants to run the 100 meters. Now, she ran 100 meters when she was a girl, and she was successful. She beat all of her people in her group. But now she's competing on the male side, and the top 4 sprinters are male. She doesn't get a chance to compete. She sues the school and says, hey, they don't want me on the track team because I'm transgender. No, you didn't make the cut because your times were not as good as the men's times because you are formerly a woman. You have all the plumbing of a woman. You have all the hormones as a woman. So it's not equal when you start talking about women transitioning to men as opposed to men transitioning to women. So if you are a man, it's okay that you can transition to a woman and then you say, hey, I'm going to go and compete against women. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster. And something's wrong with this. And no one wants to say it because everybody is afraid to say what should be said. Look, I don't care what you can transition to a damn elephant for all I care. I don't care. What you do in your bedroom is your business. I don't care. But when you start forcing your values and your changes on other people, then I got a problem with that. Because what you're trying to get me to say is that, oh, you as a male now transition to a female. You want me to say you're a great athlete because you can beat women in the 400 meters? You ought to be able to beat women in the 400 meters. You're a damn man. Go out and look at the 400 meter times for men and women. I talked about this about 2 weeks ago. As a matter of fact, Flojo's 200 meter record still stands, and it was done in 1988. So let's say, for instance, let me just throw a name out there, Michael Johnson, who was a great 200 meter runner. Let's say for whatever reasons, Michael Johnson, now we know he's not running anymore today, but let's just say for the sake of argument that Michael Johnson had decided that, hey, I'm a woman. I'm going to compete against the women. He'd have blown every record out of the box for females. This is not right, folks. We can't fix everything in everybody's mind. And for whatever reasons, people decide to transition one way or the other. Okay, we can accept that. But when you start trying to break the rules in order for you personally to have success, that's wrong. And this transgender who ended up winning the 400 meters in college in the women's division, that should not stand. And what makes it so much more ridiculous is the fact that last year he competed as a man. He was a man last year. He competed as such. And I just truly believe that in my heart of hearts, that this person realized that, hey, I'm never going to win anything in the men's division. I'm going to make a transition. Now, the transition is probably already in the works. Now I'm going to go compete against the women. And if you look at my time as opposed to the times across the nation, I'm going to win that every time. And that's what happened. We are in a sad state of affairs. Again, I don't care what you transition to. You can transition to a damn porcupine, a pine cone. I don't care. But there should still be some rules as to how that happens. An 18-year-old boy is going to be stronger than an 18-year-old girl. A 21-year-old man is going to be stronger than a 21-year-old woman. That's just fact. Okay? So let me do this. Let me give you an example. Top times in 400-meter hurdles. And I know my conversation may not be popular with some of y'all out there who have just simply accepted what is without asking questions. I'm sorry, I'm not one of those people that simply accept what is. I have to ask questions. I can't accept this. Now, I'm not talking about the transition. I'm talking about you being one gender, mainly a male gender, and deciding that you're going to go and compete against females. I got a problem with that, man. You're going to beat them women every time. You're going to beat them every time. I'm just saying. All right, so let me see here. Men's hurdles. All right, so what I'm looking for here. Let me see here. Sorry about that. 855-525-5. Okay. Let me pull up Wikipedia. Okay. So here we go. The world record for the men's 400-meter hurdles. It was set in 1992 by American Kevin Young. He ran a 46.78. That was the Olympic record as well. The women's world record for the 400-meter hurdles is Yulia Pachikina. It was ran in 2003. Her top speed, the world record, is 52.34. The Olympic record is ran by Melanie Walker, who ran a 52.64. That was in 2008. So the fastest man in this field is a full 6 seconds. A full 6 seconds faster than the fastest woman. So let's say, for instance, Kevin Young is if he was still running today. Let's say Kevin Young says, I've always thought I was a woman, so I'm going to transition as a woman, and I want to run the 400-meter hurdles. How is that fair? I'm talking about fairness here, okay? If the transitioner wants to scream fairness, then it has to go both ways. How is it fair that Kevin Young, who ran a 46.78, he decides that he wants to transition to a woman? Now he's going to compete against the women. His 46.78 will not be touched. The fastest woman in the world at that time was Yulia Pushkinina. Her fastest time was 52.34. Now here's another caveat about this. She did it 11 years after Kevin Young set the world record. So you would tend to believe that training is better, nutrition is better. You would tend to believe that that should close the gap for women. It doesn't. You all get my point? See, a lot of people don't want to address this issue. A lot of people just want to throw their hands up and say, oh, see, isn't that cute? No, it isn't. There's something wrong with this society. Look, as I said, I don't mind you. I don't mind you doing whatever you do in the bedroom, but when you start running up against common sense. Give you another example. The 100 meters. Usain Bolt ran a 9.63. Okay. Florence Griffith Joyner ran a 10.62. She's almost a full second behind Usain Bolt. A full second. And the reason I use track and field, because track and field is the one athletic event, although you're running beside other people, but in actuality, you're actually competing against the clock. The clock don't lie. Okay? The clock don't lie. So when you start comparing the physicality of a woman as opposed to the physicality of a man, women are going to lose 95, 98% of the time. Now, I pulled up the hurdles for a reason. Why is it that the women's hurdles are lower than the men's hurdles? Why is that? Wait a minute. Aren't men and women equal? Shouldn't women's hurdles be the same as men's? Shouldn't it? Another example. You know why women's basketball hasn't taken off? And I know people like to say, oh, well, they are so fundamentally sound. You know what women's basketball misses that men's basketball has? The slam dunk. Now, there are one or two women who can dunk the ball. But if I take the average NBA team as opposed to the average WNBA team, how many women on the WNBA team can slam? How many men on the NBA team can dunk? I would argue that all of them can dunk. It may be one person on that women's team that can dunk. Now, why is that? It's very easy. Because a man's physicality is bigger, better, stronger, faster than a woman's physicality. That's just the bottom line. You can get mad all you want. That's fact. Track and field is the one athletic event that we can look at where men and women compete, and we can say unequivocally that men are stronger, bigger, faster than women. Unequivocally. Y'all get mad all you want. That's a fact. And men and women should not be competing against one another. Now, I know they've got this crazy shuttle relay thing that they're doing now. But it doesn't work for me. 855-525-5683 is the number. If you're just not listening to this show, you'll get mad at me a lot because I try to use common sense. And what's going on right now with these women competing against, with these men transitioning to women, competing against women is wrong. And there is nothing you can say to change my opinion. Nothing. Because I'm going to use facts. You're going to use emotion. We've got to go out and take a break. You're listening to the weekly sports magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on JoyNetRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Saints abroad, get ready from Sumter, South Carolina. It's Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection.
Is there anybody here that know anything about old school church?
Minister Lee Burgess and Resurrection, a talented bunch of seasoned veterans, have been.
Well, good morning, Sherry.
I'm telling you, it's going down. Just call the number 501-406-7134. That's 501-406-7134. It's the Great American Wings, and I'm telling you, they are delicious and delivered right to your door. Call that number and get in touch today. As a matter of fact, you can drop by. We're located at 6323 Colonel Glenn Road in Little Rock. That's Great American Wings.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Hey friends, Father's Day is right around the corner, and Coleman's Dynamic Products is offering a dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
right. All right, we're back. We're playing Midnight Star as our guest band today. Right now, we're doing No Parking on the Dance Floor. Man, that was back in the day right there when we used to kick it. We used to kick it. We'll be playing a lot more Midnight Star. No doubt we'll be playing a lot more Midnight Star here coming up a little later on in the show. So, you know, I've been talking about this this person who ended up, and let me give the name. I want to make sure I have C.C. Telfer, who was a man who ended up competing against women, and everybody think that's okay. So in the break, I decided to go out and pull up some times. So let me tell you what I'm looking at to show you to prove my point. 2018-19 NCAA Division I indoor qualifying. 60 meters for men. Grant Holloway at the Razorback Invitational, January 25th, 2019. And I'm giving you that date so you can know just how recent these are. Grant Holloway from the University of Florida, in the 60 meters, he ran a 6.51 in the 60 meters. Okay? Courtney Johnson from LSU, on February 15th, Courtney Johnson is a female. She ran the top time of 7.14. Hello? Now, Courtney Johnson is a man. He ran a 6.51. Excuse me, not Courtney Johnson, but Grant Holloway. Courtney Johnson is a woman. She ran a 7.14. Almost a full half second slower. And if you go down, look, as a matter of fact, the top 75 men in that category in the 60 meters, number 75 ran a 6.75. The top woman, Courtney Johnson, whom I just talked about, her fastest time is a 7.14. She would not even qualify in the men's division. Hello? You get my point? So let's say let me just pick a name here. Let's say Quincy Mitchell. No offense to you, Quincy. He's from Cincinnati. Quincy Mitchell decides that, hey, I'm going to transition as a woman. But you know, when I transition, I still have my same interests, so I still want to run track. Quincy Johnson was one of about 7 different guys who ran a 6.75 in the 60 meters. Now Quincy Johnson is going to say, oh, I've transitioned to a woman. I act like a woman. I think like a woman. So now I should be able to compete with women. So now Quincy goes and competes against Courtney Johnson. Courtney Johnson is a woman, was born a woman. Her fastest time was a 7.14. Quincy Johnson decides that I'm going to compete against Courtney Johnson. Quincy Mitchell's fastest time is a 6.75. Quincy Mitchell is going to win that every time. You get my point? This is wrong. I'm not trying to deny the transgender person from living a life that they want. But you as a man, physiologically, competing against women, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you no props for that. It's just not going to happen. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you want to talk today. Hats off to Jawan Howard for filling the Michigan head coaching vacancy. The unique thing about this is that, of course, Michigan benefited from the Fab Five. Michigan made millions of dollars off the Fab Five. And then Michigan turned its back on the Fab Five. And over the decades, there has been a strained relationship up until Juwan Howard was hired. Now, all of the Fab Five, except for Chris Webber, I haven't heard him say anything, pro or con, are all on board with Michigan. You shouldn't be. They threw you under the bus. They made millions of dollars off of you. And that piece, that 30 for 30, the 5-5, where you're standing in that door and you're saying, hey, I'm walking downtown and I can see my jersey being sold, but I can't even afford a sandwich. I can't even afford a sandwich. Michigan doesn't deserve your love. Jalen Rose the other day was giddy. Oh, everything is okay now. We're okay. Dude, if someone kills your dream, you're going to forgive them? I'm sorry, I'm not a very forgiving person. I'm flawed. I'm just being honest with you. So, there you go. 855. Congratulations to Juwan Howard. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. But I guarantee you, your leash is not going to be that long. As soon as you start screwing up, you're going to be out of there. And they hired you by default, by the way. So, good for him. The question now will be, and if I'm Chris Webber, I'd never go back. You treated me like crap. I'd never go back. But apparently, some of the other Fab Five have decided that they are going back. Track star picks HBCU over Fab Five in school's dramatic viral video. Randolph Ross had a press conference, and it started like any top recruit. The Garner, North Carolina high school track star had the logos of 3 Power 5 schools: South Carolina, Ohio State, and Iowa. But he chose none of those programs. Instead, Ross turned them down, temporarily confusing the crowd gathered in the gymnasium. After dropping the Ohio State logo, he revealed that he would be going to North Carolina A&T. In fact, he had on a t-shirt. In fact, I'm looking at the video right now. Let's see if we can get some audio of this. I don't know if we can. So he's sitting right now, and the audio isn't that good, I apologize. But he's sitting in right now with all of those logos in front at a table. You know how these kids do these days. Got the press conference, he's got kids standing in front of him. He stands up, he looks at the South Carolina logo, he flips that down. He looks at the Iowa logo, he flips that down. Ohio State is left, he looks at that logo, he flips that down. And he opens up his shirt and it says North Carolina A&T. I'm so proud of this black brother. Because I don't know how this came about. I've reached out to his parent to try to get him on the air. I'm still gonna try and do it. Okay. And part of it is that his dad is the head coach at North Carolina A&T. That helps. So people say, well, oh, he went because his dad is the coach at A&T. No, that's fine. You can use that argument. But there's a bigger picture here that we need to look at. By the way, the younger Ross is one of the best sprinters in North Carolina, with top times in the 100 and 200 meters, as well as a top time in the state at 400 meters at 46.8. Wow. The 9th highest time in the nation. Or I should say fastest time in the nation. That's a misprint. He also got second in the highest jump in high jump in North Carolina, and 4th in the nation. So this cat is a legitimate track star. And he's going to play or run for his dad. But see, there's a bigger story that we can look at. Because if this young man decides to go pro in track, it doesn't matter where he goes to school. And this is what I try to tell people when it comes to black students going to HBCUs. See, there was at one point, if you go back and look at early NFL, early NBA, majority of these guys came from black schools. And here's the point. If you're good, it doesn't matter where you go. I went to school with a friend of mine by the name of Dennis Woodbury. Dennis Woodbury was from Texarkana, Arkansas. Dennis Woodbury was one of the fastest guys in the state in the 100 meters. Unfortunately, this young man wasn't that good in grades, so he ended up having to go to Southern Arkansas University. Dennis Woodbury, now at the time they also had the USFL. Dennis Woodbury was looked at by the NFL, and he ended up being drafted by the Birmingham Stallions from little old bitty SAU. So I tell young people that it doesn't matter if you're good. It doesn't matter whether you go to Arkansas, an SEC school, a Big Ten. It doesn't matter. If you're good, scouts will find you. But there's a bigger picture to this as well as it relates to this young man and saying, hey, an HBCU is okay to go to. An HBCU is all right. I can go to an HBCU, compete, get a great education. People treat me with respect as a black person. We don't have KKK and highwaymen marching on our campus. And it's kind of like home to me. So what I'm hoping, because I've told you all over and over again that there is a way that we can stop racism in its tracks if we want to. The key is, how badly do black people want to stop racism? Because if we really want to stop racism, we can do just like this young brother right here. You're a superstar child. Okay? You're a superstar basketball phenom. You're a superstar track phenom or a football phenom or whatever the case may be. What would happen if all of those black athletes decided that they wanted to go to HBCUs? What would happen if those schools were your first choice? What would happen if black athletes all across this country decided that, hey, until racism is gone, until you change the voting rights laws, until your president stops his racist dogma, we're not going to compete for your schools? Hello? Yeah, I know that's tough. But to whom much is given, much is required. And these young athletes have got to start standing up, because this, to me, is the key. No one wants to talk about it, but the key to solving, look, racism, it's pretty clear to me racism is never going to go anywhere. But if you quit feeding racism, then you can diminish it. I'll give you an example. And it's an apt example. I told you all a couple of weeks ago, well, last weekend, I thought I had cancer. And I went to a physical therapist, and she was going to start me on some therapy. But what she said was, I need you to see the oncologist first. I know you've got an appointment. I need you to see the oncologist first to make sure that that growth on your knee is not cancer. Because the exercises that I do is going to force blood flow into that area. And we don't want to feed the cancer, if in fact it is. So in other words, the more blood flow that would have gotten to that area could logically increase the growth of the cancer. We hear that all the time. What are they doing? They're trying to stop feeding cancer. Many people believe that sugar is one of the main things that feeds cancer. Hello? So what we are doing with our young males and females when we send them to white universities for them to compete is feeding the cancer. We're ignoring all the other things that's around us so that we can go and send our children and feed cancer. Because racism is a cancer. And the only way to stop it is stop feeding it. As long as you feed it with your money, the billions of dollars that black athletes earn every year for white universities that don't want to do anything but use them as PR campaigns, you need to stop feeding it. And I'm hoping that Randolph Ross's determination to go to an HBCU, North Carolina A&T, starts a trend of consciousness. But even if you don't want to go to an HBCU, you as a parent, you ought to start the trend of consciousness in your black child. Because you know what happens if your child gets hurt, he's not going to finish his scholarship. He's going to be run off the team. I am proud of Randolph Ross. I am proud that Randolph Ross decided that, hey, I can go to an HBCU and get just as good an education and compete on the national scale as I could if I would have went to a PWI. I applaud Randolph Ross for standing up and making a decision and showing all black athletes that you don't need to go to a PWI to compete with the top athletes. What would happen if black students decided to do what Randolph Ross did? What would happen if black students, not just in athletics, but in academia, decided that, hey, my first choice is Morehouse or Spelman or Tennessee State or North Carolina A&T, Grambling, Southern, Texas Southern. The list goes on and on. What would happen? How could we change the dynamics of this nation if black people decided that we're no longer going to send our black athletes to your white universities? You want to know what would happen? Go back and do some research on the University of Missouri. Hello. I dare you. 855-525-5683. We've got to take the top of the hour break. When we get back, we're going to jump headlong into some NBA talk. What was up with that Magic, the way he resigned from the Lakers? I think I know, and I'm going to offer my opinion on why Magic Johnson decided to make a public spectacle out of the Los Angeles Lakers. Back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on joinetradio.com.
Been clients just like you for over 20 years. I'm conveniently located downtown Little Rock at 323 Center Street, Suite 1020. Call today for a free, no obligation consultation at 501-374-1448, 501-374-1448, 501-374-1448. This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm, and let me help you.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $598. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first apartment. And fill your home with our third bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year. Celebrate this holiday season with something new from Bedrock Mattress and More. 3901 South University in Little Rock.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Hey friends, Father's Day is right around the corner, and Coleman's Dynamic Products is offering a dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
It's time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 855-525-5683. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA or Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole. Now here's Dynamic David Coleman.
Welcome back to the show. Hey, yeah, we kicking back like a fat rat, old school style, jamming a little Midnight Star. Yeah. They're our band today. You know, we play the best old school bumper music. I meant to tell y'all, if you all wondered where I was last Saturday, I was actually this time last Saturday, I was actually in the mountains, hiking. Bad leg at all. Yeah, I was. Had a great time with some friends. You know, just kicking back like a fat rat, old school style. That's what we do. You know, every summer we take our annual, every spring we take our annual spring camping trip. And that was one of them last week. Had a great time. You should try it. By the way, we were up at Pettit Jean. If you have not been to Pettit Jean here in Arkansas, I'm going to tell you folks, it's worth it. It's worth it. So, hats off to everybody who went. We're probably gonna go back. Probably. We'll let you know. All right. So, this hour, of course, we talked a lot last hour about this transgender competing against women. This hour, I want to make sure that we're going to talk a lot of NBA this hour. Okay? Lots of NBA. Of course, the NBA finals have started. Game 2 is next month. They're like playing a game a month. So we've got 6 games to go. So if it goes 7, for the next 6 months, we're going to have NBA, at least one game every month. And then we'll start the regular season all over again. Of course, I'm being facetious. I don't know why the NBA strings their games out so long. I mean, they played Thursday. Now they're playing Sunday. Could you not have played today, maybe? It makes no sense to me. But be that as it may, the finals have started. I will admit to you that I originally expected the Milwaukee Bucks to represent the East. But it hit me like a ton of bricks after Toronto had tied at 2-2 that the Milwaukee Bucks were not ready. As much as I love Giannis Antetokounmpo, he wasn't ready. I even rescind my thoughts of him being the MVP. He wasn't ready. Because see, here's how I look at an MVP. This is, and I'm consistent with this. This is why I don't think James Harden should have been chosen the MVP. An MVP picks up his team and carries his team on his back to a championship. We've seen James Harden is incapable of doing that. In fact, we've seen that Chris Paul is incapable of doing that. Steph Curry, he's done it. LeBron, he's done it. All of the greats have done it. But we also have to understand that the MVP is usually recognized for the regular season. Okay, that's great. So if it is, why did the league extend it through the playoffs? So you just can't account for the regular season. Now, they say the vote is already in. We don't know. But right now, in my opinion, the MVP of the league is the cyborg, Kawhi Leonard. I'm not a Toronto fan. But the MVP of the league is Kawhi Leonard. That's just my opinion. So, here we are in the finals, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But let me go ahead and cover some of the other news. As you know, Magic Johnson, it's been about 2 weeks since Magic Johnson resigned from the Lakers. And of course, it shocked the basketball world. It certainly shocked me. I mean, when you think about the Los Angeles Lakers, you don't think about anyone but Magic Johnson. I'm sorry, you don't think about Kobe. You think about Magic. Magic is Mr. Laker. Not Jerry West, not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but Magic Johnson. So when Magic signed on as the president of the Los Angeles Lakers, you think, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good sign. But when Magic resigned as the president of the Lakers, I think people began to ask questions. Why? What happened? And the way Magic Johnson resigned, see, the white media doesn't get this. You know, many of them began to attack Magic. Why would he do that? Why would he embarrass Jenny Buss like that? I think Magic realized that they were full of crap. I think Magic realized when you heard the interviews after the fact, when you heard that, you began to realize that Magic had gotten dealt a raw deal. That Magic wasn't getting the support that he felt like he should have gotten. So he decided to resign. And the way he resigned sent a message loud and clear. I heard it. I think most black people that's following this story heard it. And that message was F you. Now, why would Magic do that? You had a general manager who many people didn't like. You had a general manager that many people didn't like. GMs around the league don't like Rob Pelinka. They've said he's dirty, he's underhanded. But you know, it's funny how the media, you're not hearing blaming LeBron now, are you? For the whole year, the white media has been attacking and blaming LeBron. Now we realize that the mess in Los Angeles was not LeBron's fault. And I argue LeBron probably didn't know about this mess, because if he had, LeBron would have never went to the Lakers. But every chance you got this year, the media, the white media, was attacking LeBron. Even some of you black folks was hook, line, and sinker, allowing them to attack LeBron when there was dysfunction in the front office as it relates to the Los Angeles Lakers and Jenny Buss. When you have Kurt Rambis's wife running things, you got a problem. She has no business running anything in the Lakers except maybe catering. But basketball operations, sorry, no. In fact, it's pretty clear that Jenny Buss, who is the owner of the team, doesn't know what the hell she's doing. Doesn't have anything to do with her being female. It has everything to do with she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. And Magic realized that. And Magic basically said, I've had enough. I'm done with this. F y'all. And people attacked Magic Johnson. Then they came out and started, they got people, they kind of did a Trump on Magic. Remember that press conference that Donald Trump had last week when he tried to get all of his underlings to say he's not crazy, he didn't throw a temper tantrum. You know how sick that looked? So now employees came out after the fact talking about, oh, well, Magic treated us bad. Magic, let me tell you something. Magic is a winner. I don't know if you've ever been around someone who is successful, highly successful, but you begin to realize that person is cut from a different cloth. He's not like the regular guys. He's not like us. To get to the levels in which Magic achieved, you have to be a taskmaster. Look at Michael Jordan. Everybody cheer Michael Jordan for being a butt, because that's what he was to not only his teammates, but anybody in the front office. People forget that Michael Jordan had Doug Collins fired. Y'all forget that. But highly successful people typically don't put up with mess. They don't. Even people who are on the journey to success don't put up with mess. I'm not highly successful, but I'm on that journey to success. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like mess. I'm quicker to kick you to the curb if you come with me with some mess than any other time. I'm just not going to deal with it. Drama is what a lot of us call it. Magic had enough with Jenny Buss and her ragtag crew of so-called basketball professionals. And he wanted to make a statement, and he said, hey, I'm going to embarrass them. You tried to circumvent my authority? Okay. Let me show you what Magic. And Magic is the only one can do this because he's Magic Johnson. And then they come out with this article in ESPN about how Magic had been treating employees bad. And then Magic Johnson comes out and says, whoa, wait a minute. I've got this company and this company and this company. And none of them would tell you that I treated them bad. None of them. So where's this coming from? They were trying to assassinate Magic's character. So I don't blame Magic Johnson. Rightfully so. He did them exactly the way they needed to be done. Good. My only thing is, because I'm a LeBron fan, I hate it for LeBron. If LeBron decided that, hey, look, I would not be surprised that LeBron said, hey, I got to go. I would not be surprised. And I hope he does. I hope LeBron James says, hey, this mess is dysfunctional. This is not what I signed up for. Hey, you can take this money back, but I got to go. I would love LeBron James to do that. I would love it. It would be, to me, LeBron is on the last edge of his career. LeBron wants to go out with a bang. He can't go out with a bang when you got nutcases in the front office of the Los Angeles Lakers who don't know what they're doing. And it's pretty clear they don't know what the hell they're doing. That's pretty clear. So congratulations to the Lakers. I'm not a Laker fan, but I'm glad to see you struggling. It would be nice to see the Celtics get down there in the dirt with you too. Can't stand them either. In fact, I don't like anything about New England. As a young child, I was a Boston Bruins fan in hockey. I'm hoping they lose the Stanley Cup. Boston is one of the most racist cities in America, and I hope they lose every chance they get. Other news, Mike D'Antoni ends contract talks with the Rockets. Now, Mike D'Antoni is the head basketball coach for the Houston Rockets. He's put up some great numbers, but I said when Mike D'Antoni was hired as the head basketball coach, I believe initially for Phoenix, then ended up going to New York, that Mike D'Antoni would never win a championship. Now, you say, Dave, well, why did you make that prediction? Well, I'm an ex-athlete. When you play a sport, you have to be able to play every aspect of that sport. Now, you say, what am I talking about? Well, if you play football, to play football, there are aspects of that game that you should be able to do in order to win. Not individually, but as a team. I'll give you an example. You have to be able to play offense. You have to be able to play defense. And you have to be able to have good special teams. If you fall down on any of those three, where you become mediocre or less, you're not going to win a championship. In other words, that old saying, defense wins championships, it does, because you have to be able to stop someone. Remember the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs last year when they lost in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden the Chiefs wanted the NFL to change the playoff rules and say, hey, well, every offensive team should get a chance at the ball. No. All you had to do was stop someone. You forgot about defense, Andy Reid. So if you quit focusing on offense and spread your talent across defense, you'd be much more successful. And Kansas City would have won. Look, what was Kansas City problems going into the whole year? Kansas City, they couldn't stop anyone. They could outscore people, but they couldn't stop anybody. So Mike D'Antoni, when he got to Phoenix, run, gun, shoot it up. Got to New York, run, gun, shoot him up. Gets to Houston, run, gun, shoot it up. And what does that get you? Out the playoffs. Because Mike D'Antoni doesn't believe in defense. Mike D'Antoni reminds me of George Karl. George Karl was an excellent basketball coach. He coached at Golden State, Denver, somewhere everywhere in the league. Excellent basketball, offensive coach. But George Karl didn't believe in defense. So George Karl never made it to the finals as a head basketball coach. Never won an NBA championship. In fact, you're not going to ever win anything if you can't stop your opponent. Whether it's an individual sport or whether it's a team sport. Because at some point, defensive strategy has to come into play. Let's take the French Open is going on right now. You're volleying back and forth, and your opponent got you on your heels. You make a certain shot, your opponent's going to take a kill shot. But let's say you lob it over their head. That's defense. So that defensive lob shot sets you up to make an offensive shot. Y'all get that, right? So every sport that you participate in, you've got to play defense. But unfortunately, Mike D'Antoni didn't get the news. So now, he's come close. Now look, if you can't, you have your full company. Last year, and remember I told you, had Houston beaten Golden State last year, they would have ended up playing Cleveland. Cleveland would have beaten Houston in the finals. I truly believe that. Cleveland would have beaten Houston in the finals. Because all Houston is a team that comes down with James Harden, boom, 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 boom. Shoot, boom, boom, boom. I might pass. Shoot, boom, 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 boom. Layup. All of those are James Harden. So people say, oh, well, James Harden put up 50. James Harden put up 40. Well, if you're shooting 40 times a game, you ought to be able to put up 50 points, especially in an era of three-point shooting. Everybody thinks that because you can put up great numbers that you are a great player. No, you're not. And what we're seeing at Houston right now is proof of that. In fact, Houston and the brass are talking about everybody is on the chopping block. They're even claiming that they're willing to trade James Harden. Who would want James Harden and his style of basketball? I wouldn't. I would not want James Harden and his style of basketball on my team because it bogs down everyone else. People would criticize LeBron James when he would do those things, but James Harden all of a sudden was this great player. It made no sense to me. Made no sense to me. So now, Mike D'Antoni, who wanted a 3-year contract extension, has been denied And him mad. Him mad. So the contract talks break down. Now, D'Antoni is 68 years old. Okay? Warren LeGarry, D'Antoni's agent, informed the Rockets general manager, Daryl Morey, of the coach's decision on Thursday. There were also conversations centered on the Rockets' idea of a performance-based extension, but this didn't gain any traction with D'Antoni's side. In other words, you've been telling us, Mark D'Antoni, that, hey, look, Mike D'Antoni, hey, look, just give me some time. I'll get us a championship. And I would argue that you're regressing as opposed to progressing. I would argue, I don't think you will ever win a championship. Ever. So, we'll see what happens. But they wanted to give him an incentive-based contract, which meant that, hey, I think the base was going to be like $5 million. D'Antoni wants that guaranteed. And then, of course, had you win a championship, you could make almost $9 million. D'Antoni said, nah, I don't think I want that. Okay. So there's a possibility that Mike D'Antoni may not be the head basketball coach for the Houston Rockets this year. We'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. Other NBA news, just quickly. The Clippers have been fined $50,000 for comments from Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers was on a NBA pregame show and with Stephen A. Smith, a couple of other people, and he was asked his thoughts of Kawhi Leonard. And Doc Rivers gave very glowing comments about Kawhi Leonard. The NBA fined him. So apparently in the NBA now, coaches cannot say anything positive about another player on another team. Now, what the league is trying to argue, because so many people have been saying, let's say, had Doc Rivers been coaching the Phoenix Suns, would he have been fined? Because many people think that because Doc Rivers is coach of the Clippers, and many people think that Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers, is one of the teams that he could potentially end up with. They felt like that those comments by Doc Rivers was out of line. I don't think that to be the case. I think it's kind of stupid, but they fined him $50,000. Whoa. That's terrible. 855-525-5683 is the number. Let's see, more NBA news. I want to make sure, because we're going to get into the finals here in just a moment. I do want to quickly talk a little bit about the Oakland Raiders, or the Raiders, and the NFL. You know, I know a lot of you all have given up your ghost and y'all are back to watching the NFL. I still refuse to do so. Richie Incognito is one of the most racist players in the history of the NFL and has not been hesitant to be racist. He's been suspended in the past for allegedly sending racist voicemails and text messages to other players. So the Raiders decided, and I've told y'all that I'm not a John Gruden fan anyway. I think he's a much ballyhooed coach about nothing. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but think about it. He won that Super Bowl with a team that Tony Dungy built. And had it not been for one of the worst calls in the NFL history about a catch that wasn't a catch, yeah, that happened long before the Cowboys went through it and the Steelers and all these other teams. They would have been in the Super Bowl that year, and arguably I think they would have won it. So he takes a Tony Dungy team, leads them to the Super Bowl win, and from that point afterwards, that team did nothing but spiral downward out of control. And for whatever reasons, people want to give John Gruden, it just gives you an example of how important media is. Because of the fact that John Gruden was always in the media, he was always on football games, everybody was always asking him his opinion. People thought he was a great coach. And he isn't. So he decided that he was going to claim Richie Incognito, someone who hadn't played since 2017. One of the most racist people in America. He was also accused of making racist slurs toward the Miami Dolphins assistant trainer during the 2018 Jaguar Bills AFC wildcard game. This is the guy that they just picked up. His antics also include a 2018 arrest for allegedly threatening to shoot the employees of a funeral home. Workers at the establishment claim he made a bizarre demand that his late father's head be cut off. Hello? For research purposes. When he did not get the response he wanted, they say he began walking through the building while violently destroying property. Why is this guy still in the league? Why is this guy still in the league? Why? But you don't want Colin Kaepernick in the league, right? It's okay to get a racist in the league, but not Colin Kaepernick, a man of integrity and honor who doesn't mind standing up. Hello? Now y'all understand why I don't follow the NFL. We don't talk, look, when I first started this show 3.5 years ago, hey, look, what did we do? We had picks every Saturday. We talked, we broke down games. I don't do that anymore. I talk about the dirty underbelly of the NFL, which no one wants to talk about. And I'm certainly not going to support that team. I'm certainly not going to support the Raiders, the team that I've grown up with, that I've loved. In fact, the only NFL team I've ever loved was the Oakland Raiders. Never changed, never wavered. Through the good times and the bad times, I was a Raider fan. No longer. I'm not an NFL fan. In fact, it was amazing last season how much stuff I got done, not trying to schedule my time around NFL Sunday or Monday or Thursday. But you're a double standard and you're a liar, NFL. But what else is new? That we're finding that there are a lot of white folks like that. Sorry. I want real white folks. Real white folks that you can trust. Not these hypocrites. 855-525-5683. Congratulations for the Virginia basketball team for as they decline a trip to the White House. Don't blame you. I don't want to see that bomb either. Lewis Hamilton becomes F1's Formula One's highest paid driver with nearly $500 million in career earnings. Lewis Hamilton, by the way, is black. Y'all should know that, but you don't because you're so jaded. Hats off to the Power USA Powerlifting, who banned all trans women from competing as women. We had that discussion last hour. Fantastic. Someone gets the point. Somebody gets the point. 855-525-5683. So now for the rest of the show, we're gonna dive headlong into this NBA Finals. Okay? A lot of stuff to talk about with this Finals. It's been so far an interesting final. I have to be honest, I wasn't sure that the NBA or the Toronto Raptors would be able to compete against Golden State. I, like many of you, one other note about the NFL. Chris Long is retiring. Says he used marijuana during his career, thinks NFL should allow its use. Hats off to Chris Long. I really respect this guy. See, this is the type of white guy I want to be friends with. Not because he smokes pot, but because he's real. Chris Long was one of the few white NFL players who kneeled beside players with Colin Kaepernick. Chris Long came out and supported those NFL players. See, Chris Long is a real white brother. So you white people wondering what you should do when it comes to bigotry and racism, you should do what Chris Long does. Stand up and be counted. Stand up with your black friends, your black co-workers, your black compadres and say, hey, we are not taking this. We are people. So hats off to Chris Long. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, I knew it was another story I wanted to cover here. Speaking of basketball, what you don't know, according to the Knicks, Kristaps Porzingis threatened to return to Europe unless he was traded. By the way, there is a rape allegation out there about Kristaps Porzingis. Waiting to see the results of that. So now let's talk about the NBA Finals. Thursday night, the Raptors came out and opened a can of whoop ass on the Golden State Warriors. I mean, kicked their butt. Now, they only won by 8, but it was clear what was going on. And here's the irony behind that. Kawhi Leonard had a mediocre game. Now, Kawhi Leonard is being referred to as the cyborg. And he plays like that, unemotional. He gets the job done. In my opinion, if not for Kawhi Leonard, Toronto does not beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee didn't have an answer for Kawhi Leonard. Even though they had Giannis Antetokounmpo, there was no answer for Kawhi Leonard. Driving, dunking, shooting, passing, you name it, it was happening with Kawhi. Kawhi is the best player in the NBA right now. It's not James Harden. It's not Steph Curry. And I have to say this, it's not LeBron James because LeBron was hurt. It's Kawhi Leonard. And he's going to have to be dealt with. But game 1, Kawhi was relatively quiet. It was Pascal Siakam who scored 32 points. At one point was 11 for 11, ended up making 14 out of 17 shots. Only Adrian Dantley has a better shooting percentage in the finals than Pascal Siakam. That was done in 1988 for the Detroit Pistons. Siakam was on fire. Now, they go on and win game 1. People immediately began to make excuses for the Golden State Warriors. Oh, well, you know, they were rusty. That dog ain't gonna hunt for me. Oh, you know, Kevin Durant, he's hurt. That dog ain't gonna hunt for me. You know, I didn't hear y'all making those excuses for LeBron James the first year they went to the finals against Golden State when he didn't have a legitimate point guard and Kyrie Irving was hurt. In fact, I don't hear you making those excuses now. So that dog is not gonna hunt for me. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. So let's stop making excuses for Golden State. This series is a long series, has a lot to go. But at the end of the day, I think Golden State's in trouble. If they do not win game 2 tomorrow, they're going to lose this series. I hate to say it, but game 2 tomorrow is a must-win for Golden State. See, there are a couple of other things that came into play here. Golden State doesn't have home court advantage. So the first 2 games are on the road. Kevin Durant is injured. Right now, we don't know. They're saying that he's not going to play in game 2, but he will play in game 3, maybe. But dude, if he's got a damaged calf muscle, how effective will Kevin Durant be? Golden State's in trouble. Now, the question is, because with Kawhi, and Kawhi is somewhat limited, he's hurt. With that being said, will Kawhi get the help he needs in game 2? I don't know. We'll find out. We got to go out and take a quick break. We'll wrap this up here in just a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave on jointinradio.com.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Hey friends, Father's Day is right around the corner, and Coleman's Dynamic Products is offering a dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives
When hiking.
dynamic download.
When hiking in the mountains.
To say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic Product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
Welcome back to the show. A few more minutes to go in the show. Coming up here in just a moment. Real Talk, Real Money with David Ashley. In the background, we're jamming a little Midnight Star. It's called Operator. Hey. Yeah. Ow! Operator. Oh. Yeah, we're having a good time here. We got a little more Midnight Star before we get out of here, but we were talking about the NBA Finals. And I was saying that if Golden State doesn't win Game 2, they're in trouble. Don't give me that mess about it. The season doesn't start unless you win on somebody else's court. That's just a bunch. You know, these sayings that come about, it's a bunch of crap. The series has started, and Golden State better get it together, or they're going to end up getting dispatched. And I believe that most of the country are against Golden State. Don't blame them. I'm tired of Golden State as well. I believe most of the country are against Golden State. So here's the bottom line. Kevin Durant is injured. He has a calf problem. Now, those who have had that problem, those who have had that injury before will tell you that that injury is a minimum of 3 to 6 weeks before you're back. Now, anytime you have a foot, a lower extremity problem, you're going to have some problems being conditioned. Okay? So the conditioning is going to be a problem for Kevin Durant when he gets back. It's a problem. So what's going to happen is not going to be as easy as you all think it is. It just simply isn't. And you think about it from this perspective. Kawhi Leonard didn't play very good basketball. I mean, it wasn't great at all, to be totally honest. I mean, he scored 23 points, but he wasn't the Kawhi that we're used to seeing. He didn't have that lift. Just think. Kawhi comes back. I don't think right now Golden State has anyone that can stop Siakam. And here's what I liked about Golden State as well. Here's what I liked about them. Here's what I liked about Toronto. Is that they've got some length. So you know how Steph Curry typically will run to the goal and throw that little freaked out layup and it drops. You didn't see a lot of those from Steph Curry. You know why? Because Marc Gasol and Siakam and Kawhi, they were tossing that stuff into the stands. See, for whatever reason, some of the people in the NBA has decided that big men are not important anymore. You know, the rim protectors. See, I've told you guys have lost your minds when it comes to sports these days. You all have let geeks take over common sense sports. So, the analytics says we shouldn't do it that way. The analytics says we don't need a big man camped out in the paint to stop people from driving and hitting layups. Well, look at Toronto. Watch the game tomorrow. I wonder, I'll tell you what, let me just do this real fast. Let me pull up the box score, and I'm curious about the blocks that Toronto had, or even the intimidations. And although those are not statistics, even if you intimidate someone, and what I mean by that is that you may not block the shot, but you certainly will keep them from hitting that layup. So let's see, there's Siakam had 2 blocks, Gasol had 1, Green had 2, Ibaka had 1. So you had 6 blocked shots. Let's see how many the 1, 2. Golden State had 2. If you defend well, typically you will win games. Let me say that again. If you defend well, typically you will win games. Golden State Warriors had 21 points in the first quarter. When have you ever seen that with this team? Now you could say, well, they weren't shooting well, but you know what? When a team doesn't shoot well, that typically means that that other team is playing pretty good defense. Hello? They had 16 steals, they being Toronto. That's playing good defense. See, you all have been jaded into thinking that just because someone can score a lot of points, that makes them a great team. No, it doesn't. I said earlier, in team sports, in any sport, you got to be able to stop the other person. That's called defense. And if you can't stop the other person, guess what's going to happen? you are going to lose. And that's what happened to Golden State. And I'm going to tell you, I think they're going to lose game 2. I think Golden State's going to lose game 2. And I think, look, Draymond Green can talk all the pluck he wants. I like Draymond. He's the kind of guy that you want him on your team, you just don't want to play against him. He can talk all the noise he wants about how Siakam was beating him down the court and he underestimated him. Wait a minute, dude, you're in the finals. Why are you underestimating anybody? Well, here's the problem that y'all are going to have. The two main players, Kyle Lowry, scored 7 points. He's a guard. He's been playing very, very well as of late. He scored 7 points, and y'all lost. Kawhi Leonard, he scored 23, but let me just give you a statistical analysis. Kawhi Leonard scored 23 points, but he was 5 of 14 from the field. That's like 35%. Kyle Lowry, the starting point guard, only scored 7 points. He was 2 of 9 from the field. Hello? And y'all got smoked. Y'all got put on a barbecue grill and turned over and smoked. Where you Dub fans at now? Oh, you've been hearing, I'm a Dub fan. I'm a Dub fan. Well, none of y'all ain't. Let me ask you something. The next time someone comes up to you and tells you that they are a Golden State Warrior fan, ask them, when was the last time the Warriors won a championship prior to this iteration? Ask them to name a former player on the Golden State Warriors back in the day. Now, if they can't do that, they're not Golden State Warrior fans. See, I'm a Philadelphia 76er fan, okay? I just didn't become a 76er fan because of Joel Embiid. See, I can name Caldwell Jones and Doug Collins and Daryl Dawkins' Chocolate Thunder. I can name Maurice Cheeks and Andrew Toney. And of course, Dr. J, Bobby Jones. See, that was back in the early 80s, that team. So I am a Philadelphia 76er fan because I can name some of their iconic players. Don't sit here and tell me you're a Golden State fan and you don't know that Rick Barry used to play for the Golden State Warriors. You don't know that Al Attles used to play for the Golden State Warriors. I don't want to hear that mess. That dog ain't gonna hunt for me. But I'm telling you, Golden State's in trouble. Now, I might be eating crow next week, but I've got some rib rub and rib juice that I can eat and sprinkle it on it to make it taste better. But I think Golden State's in trouble. They may ultimately come back and win this series. This series is going 7. Long as Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, now that's questionable because he's been limping worse and worse and worse every game. But long as Kawhi Leonard stays healthy, I think the Raptors are going to win this game, this series. I know y'all think I'm crazy. I'm not a Raptors fan. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I'm just looking at what I saw, what I've seen in the run-up to the finals. The Toronto Raptors are playing better basketball than Golden State. It doesn't matter that Golden State swept Houston. I told y'all the Houston Rockets suck. They put up great numbers, but when the rubber meets the road and we need you to step up, every year the Houston Rockets suck. Now, here's the other thing about the Houston Rockets, is that James Harden has a pattern of doing that. Remember when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder? Remember that? They had Serge Ibaka, Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden on the same team. What they end up doing? Nothing. Let me get my Jamaican accent. Nothing. I think Golden State's in trouble. I really do. The finals have all of a sudden become must-see TV. If Kawhi Leonard comes out and puts up 35, so let's say Siakam only puts up 15. Let's say Gasol, who played out of his mind, he puts up 10. You got Van Vliet coming off the bench. And see, here's the other thing that people, see, you get caught up in, if you don't really follow sports, if you don't look between the cracks and the crevices, you'll miss out on a lot of things. A lot of people did not understand that what made Golden State so successful in the past, in this particular iteration, was their bench. Golden State had guys coming off the bench who were starters. Andre Iguodala is one of them. Remember, Andre Iguodala got MVP of what? The tournament. And people say, oh, well, Andre should have got that. It should have been stepped. Oh, no, he should have. Because what did he do? He shut down LeBron James. There was no one else on that team that could have done that. Andre Iguodala was coming off the bench. This team doesn't have that bench anymore. They have some guys who come in and are serviceable, but the impact that the Golden State bench had a couple of years ago, this bench they have this year is not that great. Therein lies the problem. Because, see, here's the thing. Powell is a heck of a player. Serge Ibaka, Fred Van Vliet, Green, those are some players coming off the bench. I would argue right now that, number one, the Toronto Raptors have the best player on the court in Kawhi Leonard. I think most would agree with that. So when you have the best player on the court and everybody is doing their job, most of the time you're going to win. So not only do the Raptors have the best player on the court, guess what else do they have? They have the best bench. And that's why the Toronto Raptors are going to win this thing, hands down. I would not be surprised if the Toronto Raptors end up winning this thing in 5. Hello? You better hope and pray that Kevin Durant gets back. You better hope and pray that he gets back and he's healthy. He's going to have to run. Because if he doesn't get back, I think the Toronto Raptors, the first time in the history of the NBA champion will reside outside of the United States borders. Yeah. All right, we got to get out of here. That's the show for today. Coming up here in a moment, Real Talk, Real Money with David Ashley. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to catch Black Focus Radio Monday through Friday on Joy That Radio, noon to 2 p.m. And also, don't forget about the Father's Day special going on with Coleman's Dynamic Products. Call me up at 615-554-0568, and I'll tell you about the pick 6 or the pick 10. We got to go. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the weekly sports page with dynamic David Coleman.
On Dice Strikes, ice cream, alert, 654, Jose. Okay, 1-0.
Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 10.
Brown, Richard, 96 double, 96 double. Check out our player,
That one doesn't,
Until next
so that
week.
you all can use this one.
Feel your home for the holidays.
Here on the end, and I'll get here in the middle, or I'll get on the end.
All right, folks. Appreciate you joining the show. Y'all have a great day.